your Plan Act 1-1 and Tshwane Leadership Foundation. We're focusing currently, working very close with the City of Tshwane, and we have created what is called a waste hub. So we can make sure that waste is collected on a daily basis from specifically also the informal settlements.
Yeah, that's incredibly important work, particularly waste collection and informal settlements. And then of course one would want to know what the structure of the agreement is with the city and what that means for the work that you do when you do have the instability that you see, for instance, in council and a changing leadership.
I mean, the word instability, which suggests there's no stability. So that drastically affects the work that we are trying to advocate for, to make sure that these basic service deliveries are actually realized by our communities on the ground. As you know, when the two bulls are fighting, the grass suffer. So the people on the ground are the ones that are taking the hit more than the politicians themselves.
Will you explain how that trickle-down effect does impact services then of waste collection in informal settlements? So talk to me about where the disruption then takes place when you do have a change in leadership.
The change in leadership has really affected our grassroots levels. When there is a change, then it affects, because that is administration. The part of administration is to make sure that operations are taking place on the ground. And when the administration is changed as often, then that affects the contracts of the service providers who bring these services to the ground. And that actually creates a lot of dumping sites in our city, in Tshwane, in townships and informal settlements, and it gives us a problem because it becomes a health hazard to the people that are living there.
So you're contracted essentially for waste collection in the city and informal settlements?
The city contracts the service providers, and we are doing advocacy work to make sure that these contracted service providers bring these services to the local people on the ground.
Very, very interesting. So talk to me then about what that has looked like, right? I suppose the compliance and even support from the city to be able for you to get that done under the leadership of Celia Brink, who was ousted 2 weeks ago. And then what do you expect to see take place today after or during that vote in council for a new mayor? Are you watching the politics?
Very closely, because we become who we are on the ground because of the laws that are made by the politicians. So I'm watching that very closely. With regards to the current or the former mayor that has been ousted, I think he was trying his best to make sure, 18 months, it's a very little time for this huge metro of Tshwane to turn around everything. But we were seeing glimpses of changes here and there. But now, since things have changed again, we are very worried. We are very concerned. What will happen next?
ANC Action SA?
ANC Action SA, unfortunately, I'm not a politician, but we are actually looking at the product, at the work, the services that whoever is in leadership will bring on the ground. Whether Action SA, ANC, DA or EFF, we will be happy to see the work done on the ground. That's what we want.
Thank you so much. That there, Mr. Joel Mxolisi Mayephu, who is of course with the Asivikelane organization that has been advocating for better waste collection services, particularly in informal settlements here in Tshwane, saying Celia Brink certainly did try, but they need stability for those services to continue in some of the most vulnerable communities here in Tshwane. I'll turn back to you.